This is everything that the GB lightweight women's double sculls did at the Paris Olympics, technically, to get them to win the gold medal. So we've got this little training montage from Imogen's Instagram. So Imogen's in the stroke seat, Emily is in the bow seat. In my opinion, obviously both like technically really, really good. I think Imogen's technique is better and it kind of stands out. That being said, in double sculls, there's different rules that people need to play. Sometimes the bow seat needs to take the load a little bit earlier than the stroke seat. So again, I don't know what the exactly the crew strategy was. So that there may be an element of that being played into it, and I'm sure a lot of things that I'm totally unaware of. But anyways, I'll mainly be using Imogen as an example because in my opinion, I think she is technically the best. Yeah, in the world, in my opinion, this is the best technique. I think I've seen lots of good footage that we can break down here, and I think I'll get to the start. But I think one thing generally that they do well the whole time that they're rowing is just stay super, super loose and super relaxed. So there's no substitute for just getting miles and miles and miles and miles in of low intensity training or high or whatever, any type of training where you just practice being relaxed. So if you're a beginner or if you're about to row your A final of the Olympics, you can always be more relaxed. You can always be more loose. Honestly, the easiest way that you can do it is just practice being loose. Always ask yourself the question, can I be more relaxed? Can I be more loose? Get specific as well. I think instead of just thinking I'm going to relax more, I think relax your shoulders, relax your neck, relax your jaw. Do lots of pausing drills, do lots of front end drills. So I should probably explain that. When I say front end drills, that's, when you just sit at this part of the stroke and you kind of tap on the front and then you just drive on the front and then take the blade out and then go back up to the front again. That's a really good way to get relaxation. Generally, through the finish, it's easy to be loose here because we're more stable and not in a compressed position. But as we go out further and further and further, this is something we were working with one of our athletes, Osrin. But he would just get really, really, as he would progress up the slide, he would get really, really tense. There, I'm at the most. You're at the most unstable part of the stroke. You're at the most compressed part of your stroke, so your core and your legs and everything it's easy for it to be tense. So that's it's also the point at which you can do the most damage to the stern. Hold on, I need to get that brush on. Show screen brush. If you're a coach out there watching this and you're on a Mac, I recommend getting screen brush, because it's handy. Anyways, So yeah, more relaxed. Basically, when you're out here in this position, all the crew's weight is on the stern. The boat is slowed down the most because it's been the longest time since you've taken the blade out, and you're about to put the blade in the water. So it's the easiest time to disrupt the run of the boat, and the easiest way that you can disrupt that is by being tense. So obviously in this crew. And again, in this example, you can see Imogen super, super loose in the traps, in the face. Wrists is a really good one to think about as well, keeping like a loose sort of like wrist. Like just imagine, the analogy we use is imagine, this doesn't sound relaxing, but imagine imagine tension is like this thing that's in your body. It's like a fluid or like I don't know, like a virus or something that's in your body all the time. And imagine what I used to do would imagine someone getting a syringe and stabbing it into my back. So again, it doesn't sound loose, but bear with me. It doesn't sound like it would help you stay loose. And just imagine every stroke, someone's just drawing more and more of that tension out of your shoulders, and you're just relaxing more and more and more. What we often say as well is just imagine you're trying to fall asleep when you're at the catch. Like, what would you be like if you were here and we said, right, fall asleep right here? What would you do? Would you be like, oh, okay? No, you'd breathe, you'd try and relax, you'd try and sink into the mattress. You want to have that same idea when you're at the catch. So, I think that just covers the general. I think another area that people can get wrong is they tense up as they drive. So I might be a bit of an arsehole here, but I'm going to use the example of Emily in the bow seat, where I think this is something that she doesn't do as well as Imogen does in the stroke seat. Again, they both dominated. They dominated the whole Olympiad, so who am I to say? But I just think here, you can see that Emily will take more tension as she drives, and you can see the traps. The shoulders are low and the traps are in this position. And then you can see Imogen, shoulders are down here, traps here. If you think about almost that distance from neck to shoulder, Imogen keeps that same distance as she takes the drive. And then Emily, you can see that distance shortened a little bit. So she takes that load a bit higher. And lots of the time people think about being loose on the recovery, and when the blades aren't in the water and they think, right, the blades are in, no, it's time to work, and they tense up. And then what that means is as you get to the finish, and as you get here, you've increased the amount of tension in your stroke, and then you're almost like it's like you're back to square one, where you're tense, okay, right, I need to relax now. And it's so hard to stay loose throughout the stroke if you are taking tension as you drive. So one thing I think really helps is if you can get this idea of staying loose as you drive. So imagine you're trying to do a maximum deadlift and you're also trying to stay loose while you're doing it. You're trying to like deadlift, I don't know, whatever it is, your body weight or 2 times your body weight off the ground, but you're doing so while staying completely loose in your shoulders. And this is where I think the real skill of rowing comes from, just in general. And I think about being a really good athlete is how can you be more in tune with what your body is telling you and with that control that you have over your body. So it's not just in the boat. This is the cool thing about rowing. I think it's a really good vehicle for this. It really forces you and teaches you through repetitions to how can you become more connected to what your body's doing and how it's moving. In the same way, when you're in the boat, likewise, when you're going through a heavy training phase, and there's the good fatigue and then there's the bad fatigue. When are you pushing too hard? When is it fatigue that you can push through? When is it fatigue that you need to back off? So again, the cool thing about rowing is you're just getting more and more in touch with your body. And I think what elite athletes are really good at doing is knowing exactly what their body is telling them. Likewise, when it's racing and they're going through halfway and they feel the fatigue and they can gauge how much more they can push themselves because they're so in touch with what their body, their mind and body are just so in sync. So that's a big thing just in general as well. I'm friggin' rambling already. That going from a beginner through to an elite, yes, your technique, your physiology, your mindset improves. But one big thing, overarching thing, is you just become more in touch with your body and control of your body and, in tune with what it's telling you. But anyways, so stay loose. A long story short is stay loose as you drive. And you can see here, like nothing really changes in Imogen's face, in Imogen's shoulders. If we were just to take like this section of the screen, imagine like we just cropped this section of the screen and my dog is freaking out in the background because the postman's coming. Loose. Look at her going in and then look at her going out. There's barely any difference there. You can't really, her head angle changes slightly, but really just going in and out there, really nice, really still. And what this means is because there's so much stillness in the upper body, there's absolutely no energy going towards the upper body, and all that energy is going into the legs, into the hips, into the core, so that she can just drive nice and low and nice and efficiently without bringing any of that handle up, that force up, and it just is a really nice horizontal drive, and she really just pushes the boat in that direction, and there's no up and then down with the force at all. But yeah, again, the simplest way you can get better at this, stay loose at the front, stay loose as you drive. And I know that's easier said than done. But yeah, so again, here's a nice side-on shot of what's happening here. So really, again, good mobility, good hip angle here. I know we're just using this crop video, but shoulders really nice and far in front of the hips. And just super, super still. So if we were, I'm going to try and I tried to do this before actually, and it didn't really work. Bear with me here. Someone commented on the last video saying, you need to script these videos. Shut the fuck up. No, I don't. I can do whatever the hell I want. This is my YouTube channel. I do what I want. Anyways, yeah, that works. So if we watch here, this is what I used to do when I was on the erg. Now, I'm not saying I wasn't in any way doing this as well as Imogen was, but I would have a mirror. Imagine she's on the erg right now, and there was a mirror just like in the side that I would like sit on the couch in this office actually that I'm in right now. And when I positioned that mirror so that I could see my upper body right at the front end of the catch, one thing I would look to see is, here we go, I'm going to try and draw this. When I would come into the mirror, I would see my body and my arms and my head. Oh, there we go. This is all right, actually. And my big melon head. Maybe that's a bit more accurate. My big head that probably wouldn't fit in the mirror. And when I would slide in and then slide out, I would aim to not be able to see any difference in the upper body. So again, let's just look here. Super, super still, picks up the load, but you could barely, the only reason you can tell is you can see the load taken in the lats, and you can also just see a slight lift of the arms. But apart from that, really just nothing is changing as she goes in here and then out there. Really, really nice and still. And again, when you do this, you're minimizing the amount of movement that you have on the stern. You're minimizing the disruption that you have on the stern. You're able to be more still with your overall stroke. You keep more of your load down low in the legs. You're more horizontal. It's easier to take the blades out as well. So like if you engage the upper body, then the hands go with it, and then the blades go higher. And then when you come through to the finish here, your blades will be driving higher than what they should. And it means when you get here, you've got all that even more room to tap down at the finish as well. So it's all connected, of course. But anyways, yeah, another good shot here of that hang and that press and that looseness. And just like another analogy, this is actually got this from one of our coaches as well. They're saying, imagine like someone's got a hand on your lower back and they're trying to push into your hips. You think about push that hand away, rather than like trying to push the handles or the foot plate or anything. Sometimes that idea of you're just pushing in here. Another analogy actually that I quite liked, that I would use sometimes, is imagine you don't have arms, and you just have like a rope here. There's like a hook here or something, and you've got a rope that's attached to the end of the handle, and you can only apply force through you're just hanging on your arm, and then using your back and that connection through the lats and through the hips as well, and then just driving in that direction. So that covers it in terms of like the body and the drive, I think. And again, really long, like again, lightweights obviously tend to be on average shorter rowers. She's really using all of her legs. She's keeping that body angle forward until about here, when the legs are nearly down. Okay, she's maybe just past halfway of the leg drive, and then she starts to open her back, and then she waits until she's done all of her back opening, and then there she brings in the arms. So she's really separating that. Anytime I go back to the big camera, I always forget to go back to the small camera. So hopefully I remember. But if you use your legs and your back together, the amount of time that you're pushing on the foot plate is a lot less, and it means that you're not pushing for as long. And the reason why tall people can have an advantage is because force. If you think about the force curve, the more area underneath a force curve, the more force, basically. So if you can extend the length of that force curve by separating legs, then back, then arms, you're pushing for longer. So that was one thing I would think, is like when I would try this, I'd be thinking long, like push. And if you're doing everything at once, your legs, body, arms all at the same time, you're having a really short, you might get a slightly higher peak force, but you've got a really short time that you're pushing for. So, yeah, again, all the way through this, the other hard thing as well, I think it's to do, is when you've straightened your legs, when your back is pretty much fully extended, it's hard to continue to press through your arms. And people think, all right, arm draw, it's all about the gun show here, like just pull through with the arms. And they forget to push away through the foot. And the only way you're going to apply force... Oh, fuck, I've done it. Fuck's sake. I knew I wasn't going to do it. I might edit that out. I don't know. I don't even remember where we dropped off, but um, when so yeah, when you come through here, when your back's opened and your legs are straight, it's easy to just think like, right, just pull with the arms and to forget about pushing through the foot plate here. And the only way you can transfer force into this oar is by connecting it through the one thing that you can push off, which is the foot plate. So you need to do that by pushing off the feet, through the legs, through the lats, and through the arms. And even with this arm draw here, you know, you want to make sure that that is pressed through the foot. So imagine you're like in a tug of war match and you've got someone else on like the other end here who's like, I don't know, like that. You know, you're pulling against each other. And even if you had, you know, your legs straight like this, you would still be pushing through that foot plate because it's the only thing. Imagine you've got like, I don't know, like rugby boots or something like that, or football boots, football shoes. I don't know what you call them in North America, but you know, you're dug into the ground and you're pushing and leaning back. Anyways, what should we pull up next? I think there's still some other good clips in this. Yeah, covered that. Relaxing. Oh yeah, there's a good shot here of her blades as well. So again, like every time I talk about the catch, there's someone that comes in and talks about backsplash. So at a low rate, you're going to get more backsplash. But one thing that another big thing I think Imogen does well, and this crew, both of them, Emily, do well, is they come in with good hand height and they keep their hands low so that they can square early. So I'll try and find where would be an example. Yeah, this will be a good shot. So again, they tap down low. They tap down low with their hands. There's absolutely no reason apart from you being afraid of making the boat more unstable that you cannot tap down more with your hands. Another stupid comment. Someone said that when you tap down more with your hands, that sorry, I shouldn't say they were arguing with me. So like it wasn't a question. If someone has a question, then that's fair enough. But if someone's arguing with me and I think it's stupid, then I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. I'm not trying to shame someone for not knowing it. I'm shaming them for getting in an argument and telling me that I'm wrong about this when I'm quite highly opinionated. But oh my god, I should just shut up. I'm digging myself into a hole here. But anyways, they said when you tap down more with your hands, that doesn't make the boat more unstable. Like even if your blades are low to the water, that you are unstable if you don't have the balance. But anyways, that's not really relevant. It doesn't really help understand anything. If you think about it like training wheels, like it's just like a kid with training wheels basically. Like you're just taking these training wheels off, and the first time you do it, you're not going to have the skill to balance, but the only way you're going to learn is by doing it. So you just need to go out and not be afraid to tap down more with the hands, because when you do tap down enough with the hands, as you can see here nicely in this double, it just means that you can square early. This is something that Colin Williamson at Edinburgh drilled into me. But when you have this hand height here, it means that you can square early and continue to move forward. If you have your blades close to the water, if you want to square your blade, you have to push your hands down so that the blade goes up, so that you can then square the blade, so that you can then lift it in. The simplest way you can fix this is to just keep your hands lower. Low, 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 so they can square, and then just lift directly and place on the way forward. Really, really nice placement, really good shot here as well. And what they do really well, in my opinion, and what I see as like perfect rowing going into the catch is how she keeps the hands low, squares the blade, and then lifts it on the way going forward. And what this means is, because she is prepared going in here, the hands are low here, all she has to do is square. I don't know when they squared there. Yeah, she's squaring there. Because think about it, like if she had her hands up higher, you know, here, when she came forward to square the blade, she'd have to dip her hands down to then square the blade to then lift it up. But because she has her hands low already, she can just square the blade there and then lift it up. And it just allows for less movement, and this is why she can be so still going in, because she's here, And all she has to do is just float in and not worry about anything else because she's giving herself less work to do. So yeah, we get a really good shot of it here, a really good angle of what they do at the high rates. And how it looks slightly differently. Like just having again, I had another a good look at this as well, but one thing I think especially, I don't think I've seen anybody ever do this as well as Imogen is doing this here, is the shape that she has as well at a high rate. So those low hands in that early square, you can still see there's a super early square here, and so many people can do the shape and the squaring early at the low rates, but as soon as they go up to high rate, they forget everything, go race. But again, something that they do really well here. And again, I'm gonna be a bit of an arse and like make an example of where Emily isn't doing this. And again, this is where I could not have the understanding of what the cruise dynamic was. Maybe Emily has taken a bit more of the balance in the bow seat so that Imogen can use the shape a little bit more. So again, I could be totally misled here. But you can see, so Emily's coming in here. Imogen, first off, lower hands. So you can see here, lower hands, Emily's hands are slightly higher. Emily's blade is closer to the water. And again, this is maybe where Emily has taken more of the balance. Imogen's blade is higher above the water. Nice early square here from Imogen. Again, Emily's blade is still slightly feathered. Imogen comes in here nice and squared early. Emily is still a bit late with the squaring, and then only as she comes in here, you can see that Emily is squaring the blade late. If you look at the kind of wrist as well, this wrist movement that she has to do, whereas Imogen's already like set and all she has to do is just take the weight off the handle. Imogen's placing already, and then Emily is kind of like bringing the blade in a little bit. And then what happens as well, like another thing as well, like there's a bit of a reach with Emily's body, a bit of a lunge, and you can just see here, Imogen's so much more still in the body. If we just look here, there's just a slight dip. Imogen, super still. Dip with the body, and then the hands. When the body dips, the hands go down when you're trying to bring them up. You know, the catch, we want a still body. If your body dips, if your body lunges at the catch, then the hands go down and the blade goes up at a point where we literally want the opposite. We want the blade to be going up. So it's hard to lift the hands up as you're dipping down with the body. So again, something else, the benefit of being still here. But again, Imogen, nice. And then like, look, they do get in time together here. The lift is at the same time. So I know that in doubles a lot of the time there's slightly different rules technically, so caveat to what I'm saying here, but yeah, really nice. Look at another good indicator as well of a catch is when someone's at full slide, when the shins are perpendicular to the boat. Look at when the blade's out of the water, and then look at when the blade is in the water and buried and how much length is lost. So here, okay, I would say they're connected. And Imogen, okay, the shins, you're never going to be able to do this perfectly, but the shins still pretty much bang on perpendicular to the boat, still super compressed with the body, and the blade is locked in. So she has that patience and that timing to place the blade on the way forward, let the blade get fully buried before she starts to drive back. But yeah, really nice rowing. Bravo. But yeah, just to recap, so again, this is all my opinion. Imogen or Emily, if you're watching this, please do correct me, or their coach as well. But yeah, to recap what I think that they did really well, and in particular what Imogen did well. Relaxation throughout the whole stroke was a big thing. Super relaxed, super still in the body, sliding in and driving out. Super, super relaxed, super, super loose. Good blade, actually something that we didn't cover as well. Really nice blade extraction with the blades where they take them out square and then turn them feathered. I think that's one first thing when we're coaching we look at is like how are people taking the blades out and then turning them feathered. Probably one of the easiest things you can do to get speed and balance. But yeah, they do that, take them out, and then they keep the hands low as they're rocking forward and sliding forward so that they can square and lift simply and directly. And then they do so on the way forward, and they get a bit of backsplash, and then they push nice and low as they drive. So super simple stuff. Relax, take the blade out square, turn it feathered, keep the hands low as you slide forward. My dog is howling right now at like a fire alarm that the neighbor is having. Keep the hands low, square early. I don't know where we're at right now. Square early on the way going forward so that you can lift and just place the blades on the way forward and be still in the upper body. General stillness in that front of the stroke. Again, you want it to look the same going in as it does going out. Again, that idea of that mirror, so that you can take as much of that force down low and push away low and extend and connect through the glutes and hang and press for a long amount of time. Sounds simple, but it's pretty hard to do. One thing I really like talking about with James Rudkin, who was in the GB Men's 8, he talked about what really changed for them was their intent when they went out every session. I think that's something that's super important, is just every stroke is an opportunity to make an improvement, and how many of those strokes in a session are you taking true advantage of and trying to change them with a sense of urgency. And yeah, so when your focus goes, that's okay. Just bring your focus back onto what you can control. But yeah, anyways, that's it. If anybody else has any other crews that they'd like me to review, please do let me know. I enjoy doing this stuff. And yeah, like and subscribe, please. If you got this far, comment USB-C. Okay? Yeah, I hope everybody has a great day and they find this useful. And if you disagree with me, then just don't comment and leave me alone. And don't watch my videos. All the best, everybody. I'm only joking, of course, and hope you have a great day. And if you give this a go in the boat, let me know how it goes. It'd be great to hear. Yeah, any other crews you'd want me to do reviews on, comment them down below. Cheers.